Hey guys, this is Jacques from Makulu Linux, and today I want to show you something else, something new. It's not a big new, but it is well, in my books it's really a priceless little feature. um, I would actually go as far as saying it is a new little bombshell kind of thing. It's just bombshell after bombshell. And yes, it started with a few emails I got, and then a couple of YouTube comments, and then yesterday a user came into the Makulu channel and asked me why I don't set the bottom dock to auto hide or intelli hide, because it's wasted space, especially with two other panels. So I said to him, but that kind of defeats the point of having a three panel system where you can have your window open and access anything at any point in time. And if you set this to auto hide or intelli hide, you'd have to mouse over, and then the bottom dock kind of pulls on top of your open window. And sometimes that's okay, but if you've got an open window with lots of colors and things and you can't see the dock, that's a very bad idea. You know, the reserved space is there's a reason why that feature is there, reserved space, so that it reserves the space, and you can clearly see what what's on the bottom panel. But it got me to thinking. I mean, I told him that of course the bottom panel is based on Cairo dock, so he can auto hide it if he wants to, although I told him I wouldn't recommend it because it wouldn't really suit the desktop. But anyway, it got me to thinking, why should users compromise? Why should they have a reserved space when sometimes they wouldn't need it? And especially on a system with a three panels, what happens if you need this extra space? And of course, when a window is full screen, you have to have reserved mode, because you've got to have that bottom panel. I mean, the whole system really functions so well with it. But when you're not in full screen mode, what happens if you're in like just normal non-full screen mode? What then? And usually this panel would then obviously be, geez, these guys are busy. Usually that space would still be reserved because your dock is set to reserve mode. However, and you can't set more than one mode at a time on any bottom panel anywhere ever. I've never seen the feature ever anywhere. But I really wanted the feature, so I started working on this yesterday, just spending some time on it yesterday afternoon, last night, this morning, and today I made a little breakthrough. I have now forced a multi-mode dock, where when the window is full screen, the bottom space is reserved, and you can use the dock, this bottom panel, as a normal bottom panel. So open up more items and you'll see what I mean. We can now switch between items easily, like a normal dock would, like a normal bottom panel would. But what happens when you need that space? What happens when you've got a window open, and this window is big, or you need to resize it, or you need the window to sit in the bottom corner, and that space is now being used by the bottom panel? And I think that's the problem that a lot of guys are having. Well, I've now set a multi-mode dock, so when it's full screen, it will reserve the space, but when your window is non-full screen and you need that space, the dock will hide itself. Move the window away from the dock, and that space is not needed, the dock will pop up. Move it over the dock will auto hide itself. You can still bring up the dock by moving your mouse to the bottom of the screen. The dock will still appear on mouse over when needed, but when you need that space, the dock is gone. So I'll show you that again. Let's close this. Let's try it on something else. So we open up a terminal window. You see the dock bar there, the bottom panel as normal. Full screen, the bottom panel is still there. But now let's say you've got 4 windows open, or multiple windows open, and you want to move one out of the way but yet still see it. So you move it over the dock or over the bottom panel, and the bottom panel is gone. Move it away from the bottom panel is back. Full screen it, and bottom panel goes into reserve space mode. where it acts like a normal panel. So now you've got a fully functional multi-mode bottom panel. And even when the panel is in reserve mode and you don't need it, or even if you do need it, doesn't matter, when it's in reserve mode, the icons fade. When you mouse over, the icons highlight. Move your mouse away, icons fade. So even when it's in reserve mode, it still blends in with the desktop background and just sits there out of the way. It's not highlighted on your desktop. When you need it, it highlights. So you've got really a lot of modes here, like a multi-mode bottom panel. Full space, full screen, reserved space, highlight, non-highlight, minimize a window, move it over the dock, dock auto hides, mouse over, dock brings itself up. Even when in non-full screen, it still fades into the desktop background. So I think I've literally just solved the issue of when a user needs that space, the dock will hide itself. Because in full screen mode, you really don't need that space. I mean, you can scroll with your mouse or whatever. In full screen mode, the window is full screen to the max size that it can be, so that space really isn't needed. But when a window is non-full screen and you're dragging the size of the window here, you know, that's a different story, because you now suddenly need that space. And the dock hides itself. So how awesome is that? That this will be the first Unity with a bottom panel, and also the first DE with a bottom panel that actually hides itself when not needed and pops up and reserves itself when needed. That is something that I call priceless. There we go. Reserved space, full screen, non-full screen, move it over there because I need that space. Dock hides itself. But even though it's needing the space, I still need to suddenly get to the menu. All I do is mouse over and it's back. Mouse away, it will hide itself again. Move the window out of the way, it pops back up. Full screen, space reserved. So how is that for a multi-feature bottom panel? And that is what this video today is all about. Speak to you guys soon. I think the next video will probably be beat that too. Cheers.